Peace. So while I have a few moments free, I wanted to discuss the meaning of the houses. So you should see an image below that will help you to follow along with me as I discuss the meaning of the houses in our natal charts. Also, when I show you in a future video how to pull today's chart, you'll be able to tie that information into what's going on with the planets in your specific location at the present time. So when you're looking at the natal chart, if you were to imagine yourself standing in the center of that circular chart, and if you were facing downward, then that is where the planets are if you were to look straight up from that perspective. When you're looking at your natal chart, that is a snapshot in time of the specific coordinates of your location of your birth and that specific date and time and what was going on in the universe with the planets and asteroids. So when we're looking at our natal chart, you always look at the 9 o'clock point if you likened the chart to a clock, and that is the cusp of the first house, aka the ascendant or your rising sign position. So like I said, that's the cusp or beginning of the first house, and then we count around the natal chart wheel counterclockwise. You will see near the center of the wheel the numbers going counterclockwise from 1 all the way around to 12, and I'm going to give you a quick summary of what those houses represent. House 1 represents yourself. It represents your self-confidence. It represents how you view yourself. A lot of times this represents your early childhood, and any planets that you have placed in the first house are linked directly to your early childhood. Then the second house represents our financial security. It represents our values. It really represents how we feel about finances and whether we have a focus on our finances or not. The third house represents our communication style. It represents our area of self-expression and whether we feel comfortable communicating or not. House 4 represents our family life. It represents the family we grew up with, our upbringing. It also represents our foundation, and the cusp of the fourth house is called the IC point or the nadir. The fourth house also represents how you feel towards your family, if you feel connected to your family or if you feel a disconnect as well. The fifth house represents our creativity. It represents love and romance and our romantic style. The fifth house also represents our parenting style. The sixth house represents health, service, and our well-being. It represents how we are of service to others, how we show up for the community in a service-related capacity. It also represents how you feel towards your own holistic wellness. If you are someone who puts yourself on the back burner, or if you're someone who really puts a focal point on practicing self-care. The seventh house represents our long-term relationships, not in the love and romance capacity like the fifth house, but true long-term relationships, marriage, and partnership. The cusp of the seventh house is known as the descendant, and you'll notice that it's on an axis with the ascendant sign. So those are opposing points. The seventh house also represents how you view long-term relationships and how you show up in a long-term relationship. The eighth house represents birth, sex, death, rebirth, and transformation. It also represents inheritances. Now, the eighth house is one that kind of gets a dark reputation because of the birth and death and rebirth aspect about it. but it has a lot to do with spirituality. It has a lot to do with end of life matters and how you view those matters, how you view the potential for afterlife. If you're into occult studies, if you are into conspiracy theories, all of that is housed in the eighth house. The ninth house represents our journey. It represents travel. It represents higher learning, expanding our horizons. It also represents multicultural studies. The journey aspect is indicative of an emotional journey. It could be a physical journey along with travel interests. And also, like I said, with the higher learning aspect, it could just be about expanding your mindset, opening up your mind. The cusp of the 10th house is known as the midheaven or MC point, and you'll see that it is on an axis with the IC point. The midheaven represents the height or peak of success in our life, whatever we view that to be. It represents the potential for how we can maximize the success in our life. And the 10th house represents career, goals, ambition. The 10th house is not only about careers, although that is where people usually look with regard to careers, but it really has to do with whether you view your job as the end all be all or whether you have different aspirations in life. The 11th house represents our interpersonal connections, how we view community. It represents our friendships, our hopes and dreams, and showing up for the community, for the collective, not so much in a holistic way like the 6th house, but truly about your place in community and among the collective. The 12th house represents our subconscious. It represents our mindset. It represents mental stability, and it represents what we hold within us. Our private affairs, our private life is housed in the 12th house. So I'll be in touch with more information. Peace. Peace. Okay, so I am cooking dinner for my children. Nails still look the same. So what? It's Sunday, December 8th, and I did film earlier today. Yay me! And so I am in the editing process. But when I'm in the kitchen, I always have somebody's YouTube vlog pulled up. Sometimes a podcast, but I've been watching vlogs since vlogs became a thing, and I love watching vlogs. So I'm sitting here watching somebody else's vlog, and then I was like, duh girl, you're supposed to be filming as well. So quick tea. I'm making something I made earlier this week for my kids that they love, which was just a veggie penne pasta dish and with mushrooms. So I sometimes, rarely, make a pasta sauce from scratch. Usually I will use a store-bought pasta sauce and doctor it up, zhuzh it up with my own stuff. So my family loves mushrooms, so I have a half a pound, 8 ounces of mushrooms, and they're already sliced, so I don't have to do that. I am putting them in a pan with about 2 tablespoons of butter. The mushrooms, they sweat a lot as they're reducing down, so I let them do their thing. They create, along with the butter, create kind of like a mushroom sauce, and that's when I add the pasta sauce to it. And so yes, I just wanted to mention that. And I have the pasta boiling now. I have 4 minutes left on the pasta. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. I actually do intend to fix my nails because just looking ahead at this week, I figured Sunday is usually my only day to do extra stuff. Like me and my boys, my older boys, we played a couple board games this afternoon into the evening, and in between games, we have been doing our own thing. So I've been doing other stuff. I made like a coffee cake earlier that we enjoyed, and now I'm getting dinner ready. It's a little late. It's um, like 6:45, but this is a quick dish, so I'm going to go on and make this, and I'll show you a picture of the results, and then I will edit and then do my nails. So we'll see how all that goes. I just wanted to hop on here because I should, right? Okay, peace.